Hello and welcome to the Car Care channel, and welcome to this 2013 Lexus ES350 with an AC problem. So this car was in an accident, and when it got in an accident, it was a pretty severe accident. They repaired it. AC never worked right. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what we did for diagnosis and where we're at this point, and how we're going to fix this and everything in between right after this. So here's where we're at with the diagnosis here. This car came in. Initially I thought, okay, maybe it's undercharged, maybe it's overcharged. Let's hook up some gauges and see what happens. So the machine we have, every time we hook it up, it'll run a sample. It'll take a sample from the refrigerant and tell you like kind of a gas identifier to prevent contamination. And as soon as we hooked it up and took a sample, it told us it was heavily contaminated. It had R12, it had unknown substances, it had a lot of air in it. Of course, when you have this kind of mix of everything, you have contaminated refrigerant. So it is a very big process to take contaminated refrigerant out of the car. You can't contaminate your machine. So we flushed our machine and we got the contaminated refrigerant out of this car. And then I flushed the system in case there's any remnants left. Everything was good. We charged it, and then we discovered that the compressor is dead. It's just not doing anything. It is coming on, the clutch is engaging, and nothing is happening. So here's what we're going to do in this video. This is where we're at with the customer with this car. We talked about the compressor. We got a compressor for it. This is a 2G RFE. Basically, if you have a 2G RFE and need to replace a compressor, this is somewhat of a DIY process, so you'll see the whole process. Let's replace that compressor, and actually, as a precaution, I am going to replace the expansion valve as well, because if we had contamination, although we flushed it, the expansion valve is not an expensive part. I kind of want to future-proof this as well. So with that, let's put this car up in the lift and let's get started working on that compressor. So folks, the reason we removed this wheel is we want to get to the drive belt. I'll show you a little thing for the drive belts on these. That'll make your life easier if you ever have to change one. This is all 2GRs, FE. FE only, not FKS. Let's see, is this missing the clip? Oh, I am shocked. A car that's been in an accident is not missing this clip. That is very nice. Get this clip out. There it is. There's that clip. So this clip, you basically push the metal in and then it pops out. Very simple. So to remove the belt, this is the tensioner right here. Do you see this opening right here? If you actually ratchet the tensioner and get yourself a long bolt, M6 bolt, you're actually going to be able to put the bolt through here and then lock the tensioner in that position, and then you can remove your belt, reinstall it later. We're good. Now you're probably not going to see this because I actually have to do this and you guys are kind of in the way with the camera. You pull the tensioner, put the bolt, let it go. Do you see how that sits right now? Now the belt is loose, so we're gonna just remove the belt. That's the easiest way to do the belt on a 2GR, because otherwise doing it from the top, extremely difficult because you can't even see what's going on. But from here, that's actually designed to do that, and you can get the belt slowly out. And then when it jams up and I hit the camera, that's when the fun starts. It's so difficult because the camera is in the way. I usually just get in there, get it out. There we go. There's the belt. Doesn't look too bad. It's actually in decent shape. So now let's work on the compressor. Let's remove these covers, which this one is put backwards. That's okay. We will fix that. clips. I'm surprised these clips survived, which I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, that didn't survive. I just said it. I'm surprised these original clips survived an accident. Oh, this is not the right clip. This is for the top. That's okay. Let's see what. This one didn't survive. This is an aftermarket one. Oh, original clip. I don't think this will survive. No, well, maybe, no. Wow, this one survived. Okay. How about this one? This one, maybe. No. Oh yeah, it survived. Oh, that's a surprise. I'm gonna remove this, which has been replaced. That's how severe this accident is. Actually, the whole subframe has been replaced. This will give us a lot of room to access the compressor. I think my gun is dying. If I get locks up, I can tell you that this line is not supposed to be like that. I don't think we can work around it. I think this line is bent. But as long as it's not, we've seen this a lot. This line starts touching the body, then it cuts it, and you have leaks. We've seen this a lot after accidents. I mean, this one is not touching it. I think we'll be okay. Didn't think that was going to happen. Supposed to happen that way. Somebody over tightened it a little bit. Let's try this again. I do not like this one bit. I have to say that. They're supposed to be able to remove this bolt, but now this thing has been in accident. So now I'm wondering, is that bolt, is these bolts don't line up anymore? Because everything is out of place and they just got it to barely go and just send it. So let's find out. No, I think they just send the bolts. No, this is good, I think. Let's find out. No, we're good. It was just, yeah, that's good. That's good. I was worried about that. Folks, if the subframe bolt gets cross-threaded in there, we have problems because you basically have to cut the top, weld a new nut, weld it back in, and it just becomes a giant hassle. With these subframe bolts, you always hand start them and make sure they go in well. See, this one gets a little tighter, and that's what's worrying me. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just not as smooth. But you always run them by hand. You cross-thread this, you're in a world of trouble because some of these areas you can't access, and you have to drop the whole subframe and the powertrain to get to them. Nothing can't be fixed, but the idea is you don't want to break more than what you're fixing. So I'm going to put this bolt actually back. See, I'm talking and I forget. So I'm going to put this bolt back to hold the subframe for now. I'm just going to run it up. Yeah, see that? Somebody ran this and the thread's not happy. We're gonna possibly need to clean the thread in this and hopefully it holds. But for now, we can work on our compressor. So we're gonna start with the lines. This is one and there's another one right here. All you're gonna see in this shot is my hand. Sorry, I gotta do the job. Now, of course, we evacuated the refrigerant out. When I flushed it and it didn't work, I immediately took it out because I knew at that point, yeah, this compressor is dead. It's getting to this line is a lot easier from the top. Since we're already here, at least gonna give it a shot. Let's try a different wrench. Let's try a different wrench. There it is. I'll get loose. It's a matter of getting in there and think we can turn it by hand now. It's easier said than done. Yes. And it like turns and stops. Oh no, I'm losing grip on it. Should probably done this from the top. The line is loose, but I get a good grip on that one. There it is. We have a bolt with a line. Now let's move this line out of the way. That's always going to happen even when you evacuate it. So, system of course is empty. EPA. We're never gonna do this. Now I see the other one. It's a lot easier right now. Shouldn't, you know, I always say we should never celebrate early, and I just did. Now some of these bolts, if you have a rusty car, really rusty car, they sometimes love to break. If they do, and you're just replacing a line, yeah, we have some problems. You're gonna have to really be careful drilling it, and not to drill into the compressor. But in our case right here, the compressor is dead, so we're getting replaced even if the bolt breaks. It's not a big issue. To move these lines out of the way, because getting this compressor disconnected is one thing, getting it out of the car is a whole different thing. So we're gonna have to start working on some of these connectors. So now we want to move the harness out of the way. I got this connector. There's one more connector at the top, which is really in a fun position. Now, oh, I can get to the tab from here. Am I going to get to the tab? No. Huh, this is a lower tab. There are times where you wish you had 3 hands. Try to do this very gently. There it is. That came out. There's one more connector, which is the flow sensor. This is not, it's not the funnest job in the world, I'll have to admit that. Okay, I'm gonna hope, because without seeing it, I kinda, there it is. It's moving. Just get so much debris in there. These connectors become so hard to pull. There it is. Okay, I think we got, well, oh god. We have one more thing that is gonna be not fun, which is this clip. Get it out without damaging it. This never happens. Let's see if I can get it without damaging anything. Yeah, that came out. Yeah, I see 2 tabs. We're good. So this one, I'm not going to disconnect it from this black metal piece, because that actually is held in by the bolts that hold the compressor. Now come the next part, which has a lot of zip ties around it. I'm gonna unzip tie some of these. These are the O2 and AF sensors. No, these are O2 sensors. There's one of them. There's the other one. I don't know why we zip tied this here, but it's zip tied. Oh, this broke. Okay, that's why. Let's get this bracket out of the way. Ooh, that bolt does not look. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. The bolt broke, so I guess one more thing we're going to have to deal with. And it broke flush in there. That's loose. Now the other side, I'm not going to show it to you on camera, but there is, because this is a Lexus, there is a oil level sensor and an oil pressure sensor, which is, where is, oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I'm getting old and forgetful. This doesn't have an oil cooler. So the pressure sensor is underneath the compressor, not on the side. Does not when it comes. There we go. So now this harness is loose. All we got to do is take these two 12s and the entire harness will come off. But before we do that, I'm going to get to the top 12s. Very carefully we're going to do this. Let's see, get the more difficult one first. And this is not difficult, but not easy either. Problem is I can't see the bolt. And I need an extension. Try this again. Is this long enough extension? Yes. I do not like this one bit. The bolt is seized. This happens a lot with these compressors for some reason. I have a very bad feeling that this bolt is going to end up breaking. You have to work it back and forth. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a definite problem. We'll come to the rust belt. Some of you right now will be saying, I love these comments, why don't you put PB Blaster or some kind of lubricant? I can't even see the bolt. How are we going to put PB Blaster on it? And it's not the bolt itself. If you put PB Blaster at the tip of the bolt, it's not going to do anything. You have to get into the cavity inside the compressor, which is where this bolt is, of course, the similar metals. See, every time we do a car review, I always tell you, well, the more aluminum components they use, the worse things will get 10 years later. And everybody's very fascinated with aluminum parts on cars, how they're light and beautiful. Well, that's what's going to happen down the road. And every single steel bolt will just chemically weld itself, and you'll have this. It's going to be a minute, so we'll be right back once I just basically keep doing this until it either comes out or it breaks. I'll be back. So I think we got it, but now it's loosened a lot and it's tightened. I think we got it out, but now it's stuck in the compressor itself. So I'm gonna get the remainder of the bolts and then we'll see if that theory is correct or not. And let's see if the other bolts come out. That one is loose, that one is good. This one I think will come out. I think this one broke. No, didn't break. It's loosened. Let's get the bolts that we know came out.
very long bolt. It's exactly the same bolt I would have used for every single one of these. It's a very long bolt like this one. See, this one came out fine. See if this one wants to come out. Yeah, this one came out. How about this one? Did this one break? I think this one broke, folks. No? Wow. It's in one piece. I like that. So we only have one bolt that is the offender. See, now this harness is out of the way. You kind of tuck it up out of the way if we can. Let's see what we're working with here. Okay. Now, see, my theory on that one bolt is not correct. We do still need to go at it. So that's what we shall do. It feels so loose, I think I'm gonna take an educated risk and let's hope for the best. That it comes out, doesn't give us trouble. Yes, yes, you can probably see that it came out. Here's the offending bolt. It's out. So I guess the compressor is out at this point. It's just a matter of actually getting it out of the car. That is the slight problem. You see all that powder that's coming out? That's the dissimilar metals. Okay, let's get this compressor out. So to get this compressor out, obviously it won't fit. I'm gonna have to be careful. Yes, it won't fit. So I'm gonna drop the subframe down, but in order to do that, I'm gonna support it so we can controllably drop it. I'm gonna get the other side out as well. Get this bracket out. That is out. Drop it, so hopefully it gives us enough space. Okay, that's as low as it's gonna go. And compressor won't fit. Maybe move this hose out of the way. This line, move it out of the way. Ah, it's so close. It is so close, folks. So close. Just have to find a good angle to get it out, and I'm wondering if we get it through here, maybe. The problem is these hoses are in the way. Oh, I like what it did there. Just have to like turn it in a certain way. As soon as the nose of it comes out. Let's try something. I'm gonna stand it up and turn it around. See if I can get the back of it off. I really don't want to remove the radiator hose and drain the coolant, and now we're kind of going deeper into this. I can also do no, I don't think that's gonna come on. Maybe it is. Okay. I feel like this line is gonna be in our way, but it's not. Oh, No, I think we're gonna have to turn it around the other way. The other way. This usually fits through here, but this particular one doesn't want to fit. So, turn it around again. Like this. I think I'm going to completely remove this line, which is easier said than done because it usually sees at the condenser. So let's just ring the bell and see who answers. So I'm going to try to take this line off of the condenser, this line, to hopefully give us more room. Otherwise, we have problems. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I already feel that bolt twisting. So that's not going to happen. So there goes plan A, B, and C. And it's so close. I feel like the subframe needs to come down just a little bit more. So here is plan W. I'm going to loosen the back of the subframe, which will drop us a little bit more, and we'll be able to tilt more, hopefully. Not going to drop it completely, we're just going to loosen it. Okay, there goes plan W. That dropped a lot more. It's so close, but not quite. Oh. Now we're gonna hit the other line, which I'm gonna gently move it out of the way. Yeah, we're gonna hit the rest of the contraption. This plan is not working. So, we're gonna move to another plan, which is getting the compressor out through here. I don't like that plan, because I don't think it's gonna work. We kinda have no choice. Well, let's try the other plan. I'm going to support the subframe from the side. I'm going to remove the one side completely. Okay, now let's try it. There it is. It was actually stuck. That's why the subframe doesn't want to come down. There it is. We have liftoff, ladies and gentlemen. So before we continue, now that we have the compressor out of the way, this is actually the belt tensioner. It's kind of a brilliant design to put it right behind the compressor, which is kind of a nightmare to get out. But if you ever want to replace a tensioner, this will be the time. You do have to remove the alternator, which this is the bolt that everybody fights with. This little bracket here, this is that bolt. But if you're gonna do a tensioner, you have to remove the compressor, you have to remove the drive belt. I see so many folks come in, oh, let's put a belt tensioner as well. I'm like, it's not that simple. But we're gonna make sure that this bolt starts well, which it does. Okay, maybe we're gonna clean this up a little bit. The bolt itself, I'm going to try another bolt. This is the bolt we took out of that one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to clean that. I don't like it. So let me get
the right size. We'll clean that up, and we'll talk about the new compressor. This is an M8 by 125. Just hope I have enough space. Yes, it's going in. It's going in really nice. I think it just needs a little cleanup. We're not really making new thread. That's good. All right. Let's test one bolt. That is beautiful. So we're good there. The other ones came right out, so we're good. Now let's check out the new compressor. This is the new compressor. It's a Denso compressor. Told you things are in budget here because the original ones are extremely expensive and more labor if you want to swap over the clutch and set it up, because the original one does not come with a clutch. Denso one is cheaper and it does come with a new clutch, so that's the difference here. As long as you buy original Denso, we are good. Denso does not come with oil. It comes with oil in it, but doesn't come with extra oil. Here's a conversation of the oil. It's very simple. You're gonna take your compressor, drain the oil out of it, measure it, drain the oil out of this one. Should have more. If it doesn't, be careful. If it does have more, the new one, then you're gonna add the same amount that you took out of the old compressor back into the new one, and the oil level is set. In this particular case though, because this car is contaminated and we really drained a lot of oil out of it, we can actually keep all the oil here. Usually you end up taking a little bit out just for what's left in the lines, because otherwise you have too much oil. But in this case, I'm going to leave all the oil here because we drained a lot of oil out of this. I might actually have to add to it a little bit, but that's basically it. It's extremely simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Folks will write essays about it, but put the same amount of oil that's in the old compressor into the new one. Not the same oil, but drain what's in the new one, add the same amount back, and we're good. So for now, let's go put this compressor back in. Let's get the compressor in. Hopefully this will, I remember how we got it out. Okay. Ah, there we go. As soon as I said that, there we now go. There we go. I like that. Compressor's in. We gotta get some of this harness back out. So I'm gonna have to get the harness back in, and what I'm gonna do until we do that is just start one bolt at the top just to hold it in place, and then we'll figure out the harness. I can't put the bottom bolts because the bracket for the harness goes through it. Okay, that should hold it in place. Let's work on our harness. There it is. We do have one bolt that broke here, which is, yeah, we're not going to be able to get this bolt. This is unless I drop this up frame. I mean, you can't really fit a drill here. Even if I can't see anything. So we're gonna have to put the self-tapper here. That's fortunately the downside of some of these tougher spots to get to. Just to secure this bracket. If it was anything structural, we would have had no choice, but I think we do have a choice in this case, because it is just a bracket for the O2 sensor that's not even holding the O2 sensors. They're all broken. Let's
for now, I am not going to worry about this. That is the last little details. We want to get this compressor on so we can move on to the expansion valve. Before we put this completely back together, I want to make sure everything works. Because with this car, we have variables, lots of them. Well, that makes it official. Compressor is in. I'm going to tie up some of the harness. Right. So much easier when things have already come apart to go back in. I am missing one wire, so I do not see it. Where did you go? Ah, here you are, hiding from me. Pressure sensor. Okay, now this one, I'm gonna move it slightly over, and let's get a self-tapper. I said we were gonna do this later, but I just can't leave it like that. Okay, how about this? We get rid of the bracket. We make our opening first, and then that's already burned up. Very strong steel for these. I think I won't have enough strength to push through it. I think I'm gonna have to get it from the top. There it is. That's it. Now these, unfortunately, they're all broken. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, half of this connector is gone. But we're gonna have to work with what we have here because things are on a budget. Yeah, fortunately, we're gonna have to put a zip tie because I don't feel comfortable just leaving this around. But let me see if I can find something that may work better than that. Let's see. No. No, this is not gonna work. I ran out of. I have these zip ties that you can actually use the opening of this. It clips into it, and then you tie this around it. But I ran out of them. So here's the other AC sensor. Here it is. So color coded. One way. No. Now make sure you secure the wire to this metal tab, otherwise it'll just be... I really don't like this. I really don't like this. But I have no choice. I really don't like this, but we have no choice. See if I can, at a later time, see if we find an old harness that has one of these. But for now, let's just continue this job, which right now we're going to put the lines back on. Let's take these caps. usually leave the caps until we're putting the lines to minimize any dust and debris. Sometimes the bolts they give you for these caps, Denso and even Toyota, they are long enough, these, to use them instead of the originals if you had one break or whatnot. But these are just a tad too short, so I'm going to use the originals. They came right out, so I think we'll be okay. If I'm not mistaken, this line goes in first. There, goes right here. Well, we're gonna, off camera, I'm just gonna put the subframe bolts back on. That's gonna rinse and repeat what we did. Let's get our drive belt on, and then we'll tackle that expansion valve, and we'll call the shop. Hopefully done. We still gotta charge it and everything, and I'll walk you through that. Let's put the drive belt on, and this is the part where you guys won't be able to see anything, because it's literally impossible. I'm gonna put on the screen, there's two configurations of drive belts for the 2GRFE. There is the one with power steering, and the older ones. Then there's ones like this one, which doesn't have power steering, which is the easier one. Not really the easier one, it's the same thing, it's just a longer belt. You go over a couple more things. It's kind of a strange belt how it wraps around the water pump, but that's how they did it. You don't have any issues with it. Having the tensioner lock in this position makes it super simple. You're just gonna wrap your belt, put it exactly where it needs to go complete, and then just loosen that one and we're good to go. And as soon as I said that, sitting everywhere properly, not on the edge. Yes, we are we? Yes, I like that. So now basically pull the tensioner down, pull your bolts, and it's tensioned again. Bolt. That's it. This is on. So the expansion valve on these sit right on the firewall. I'm going to remove the cowl so we can get a better access to it. Oh, so it's literally just sitting there. It's broken. That's okay. Hood will hold it down. Well, yeah, this is just literally sitting there. These are supposed to have clips that clip them in. If you're very kind of uncareful with them, they'll all break. Yeah, they're all broken. That's okay. Gonna get the wiper motor out. Got one more harness here. Somebody's definitely been here. Of course, this car has been such a serious accident. Tape this on the glass so we wouldn't accidentally damage it. One thing about cowls, you should never remove them with the wheels off the ground. Sorry, you should never install them with the wheels off the ground because they'll torque up and then you'll have all kinds of rattling noises over bumps. Unexplainable, that's another common thing for Toyotas, folks. If you have unexplainable knocking,
rattling sounds, and everything in the suspension is fine. Remove your cowl and go drive it. The cowl meaning this bottom part of the cowl, not the top part. We've seen this a lot. People will replace struts, they'll replace all the suspension. It's just unexplainable why it pops like that, makes that noise. And turns out it's just this. Somebody tightened the cowl with the wheels off the ground. So the strut towers move and they kind of bow this up when you lower it, and it starts popping every time. So that's what that noise is. So don't put the cowl with the wheels off the ground. Let's get that expansion valve. So this is the expansion valve. It just sits external on this. We're gonna get this AC line out. Very cool line. And we can get it out. Okay, now there's two hex bolts holding it in place. Memory serves right, they are 4mm. Let's see if memory is serving right. Yes, it is. Essentially. There it is. That's the expansion valve. Old one, new one. Do you see how much debris there is here? Like all this dark stuff. This one, of course, is clean. We flip it to the other side. I mean, I don't know what happened here, but that's a lot. That's even after all the flushing we've done. I hope the system works well, because that's way too much. That's like literally sludge. I don't know what they put in it, but we're hoping this AC works and holds, because the other choice is to replace everything, and things are going to get expensive, because if flushing doesn't work and this sticks again, we're going to have problems. Let's go install it back in the car. We'll hope for the best. Let's get the new one in, and when you install new ones, always put some AC oil. Make sure if it's a hybrid, you put the right oil. Never ever over tighten these bolts, folks. And so one advice I'll give you: if you're not experienced, you haven't done this kind of work, torque them to spec. Because if you break these, and it is time to pull the dash and replace the evaporator, because that's what this thing connects to. All right, I think we are ready to put this on a vacuum and then charge it, see what happens. This is our AC machine. You guys have seen it in the background mostly. We've never really used it live. Here's what needs to happen every time you service an AC system. You open the lines, you expose it to the elements. And really the elements we're not worried about. We're worried about one thing: moisture. There's always moisture in the air. An AC system needs to be 100% moisture free to work properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the system on a vacuum. It's going to pull such a high vacuum on the system for a specific amount of time. We usually leave it 25 minutes. Some people will say 15 minutes sufficient. I usually leave it on 25. So what's going to happen is when you put it in that vacuum, it's going to actually boil the moisture inside the line, inside the entire system, and pull it out. Then you're going to end up with a system that is moisture free, and then you can charge it. That is important. And the AC machine needs to be properly maintained. This one is that's just under 2 years old. We're coming up to its first major maintenance. Needs to happen. Filters, dryers need to be replaced. Calibrations for the weight sensor of the tank. The tank needs to be purged. That we actually do a lot more often than that, but there is some maintenance to these machines. You can't just buy a machine and use it for 15 years and do nothing to it. That's not the case. And folks, most shops do this. And I say most. So we're gonna go to manual mode, vacuum, defaults to 25 minutes. It's gonna tell me connect the couplers. We already have them connected. It's basically gonna run for 25 minutes. It's gonna pull a vacuum. That's also your way of checking for leaks. If there's any leaks, it'll never be able, if it's a big leak, it'll never be able to pull a vacuum. But if it is a small leak, as soon as it shuts off, it'll slowly creep up from the vacuum to 0, meaning there is a leak. So we're kind of doing this as a dual purpose. So for you guys, it'll be a few seconds. For us, it'll be 25 minutes later. In the meantime, while this thing does that, I'm gonna put the cowl on because we're pretty much done there. And we'll catch you guys when it is completed so we can charge the car, test everything, and make sure that our repair works, and we are all happy today. So the vacuum is done. Now we're going to charge it. I'm going to go charge standard vehicle. This machine can do hybrids as well. We're going to find the database, although I have grams right here. This takes 550 grams. Just to check, because I think this hood's been replaced, I'm gonna go to my database here. Lexus ES350 13 498 grams, the machine says. Over there it says 500 plus -50. I am gonna go with 550. You always go with the maximum. I don't know why the machine wants us to go that. And we're gonna charge it. Both of them are still connected. So it's gonna charge right now. It's gonna charge the car. And then once it's done charging it to the amount that we specified, it's gonna stop. It's gonna tell you disconnect the high side, leave the low side on, turn on the AC, and then hit next. What it's doing there is, when you charge the system, there is refrigerant left in the hoses. The machine knows how long the hoses is and how much they carry. So what it's going to do is, it's going to open the low side. The low side is going to pull. If you put it on the high side, it's going to push it right back into the machine. That's why I want you to disconnect it. It's going to pull a certain amount to compensate for the hoses. Then it's going to tell you, all right, we're done, shut it off. Disconnect the low side. Then the machine will take everything out of the hoses so you're ready for your next service. That's exactly what it's going to do. It's actually almost done here. It's already at 549 grams. There you go. Now it wants us to disconnect the high side. We're going to turn on the car with the AC on, because you have to have the AC on for the low side to pull the compensation refrigerant in. So Jose's in the car. He's going to start it. AC is already on low temperature, low fan, AC on. So go ahead and start it, Jose. Compressor came on. So I already see it's actually working. So I'm going to hit it on. And then I'm going to... Yes, we have AC, folks. Because when the AC is running, if you grab the low side, it's actually going to get super cold. So this car already has AC. It's already working. It didn't do that before. That's really good. It's already done. Jose, you got cold air? You got cold air? Jose says yes. So I think this car is done. AC is working properly. Let me just grab the low side one more time. Yeah, that is ice cold. Shut it off, Jose. Folks, this car is ready. Now I'm going to hit next on this. What it's going to do, it actually says empty hoses. It's going to pull the refrigerant out of the hoses and get the machine ready for the next car. This car is done. It's fixed. AC is working properly. Now, there's something with this car that is unfortunate. We flushed this car. I flushed this car already. First, we got the contaminated fluid out of it. We flushed it a couple times actually to get rid of it. I mean, you saw some of that debris. You can never get that out. That's the problem. So we're gonna hope that this AC system continues to work properly and we don't have issues in the future. But right now, it's working properly. I mean, it's ice cold. I think it's still. It's coming down a little bit because as soon as you shut it off, this is how refrigerant works. But it's still, it got pretty cold. This is how you know your AC is working or not. Like, let's say you suspect you have a servo that is not switching properly and the AC is actually working, but you're not getting cold air. Put your hand on the low side pipe or hose. It's gonna get very cold. That's how you know it's actually working or not. That's the simplest way to do this. Folks, wish the owner of this car well, because he's a little bit in a situation with this car. He bought it. It was in a severe accident in the front. He didn't know about the accident, but he didn't anticipate that it was going to be this bad. And we're going to hope that this AC system, with all the problems that it had, that it's going to hold, that it's going to work. We're about to start summer here. That it's going to keep them cool during this summer, not give them any issues. You already spent a lot of money on this car, other stuff, and then this AC repair is expensive. These compressors are extremely expensive, the 2GR. I mean, some of the original ones, they touch $1,000 just for the part. And the Denso one is a lot cheaper. It's exactly the same unit. Just make sure you buy an original one. And we're all good. This car is all set. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm going to do some more testing, some more cleaning and whatnot, but pretty much things are a lot better than how it was when this car came in the shop. And folks, before we wrap up the video, let's give you a quick tour of what's going on in the shop the day we filmed this video. So you guys know what this one is, I suppose. This is, I believe, a 2015 Highlander, really dear customer of mine. She's been a customer of mine for a very long time. I think I did the last brakes long time ago, and they're due again. Few fluids. This car has almost 200,000 miles actually. She loves the car and wants to keep it. And this was actually a drop off for tomorrow. We haven't even looked at it. Just dropped it off early. That's one of the cars for tomorrow. This GX is completed. This GX has over 300,000 miles. Pretty cool. Valve cover gaskets were not leaking, they were just an open faucet. So we got this done. This took quite a while to clean things. Some of the hoses were dry rotten and whatnot. This was quite the job, but got it done. It's actually done. They're picking it up tomorrow morning. This Camry Hybrid, for the first time we have two Camry Hybrids of the exact same. This Camry Hybrid was an emergency appointment. It's a really good customer of ours. He sprung a very large coolant leak, and it was actually the water pumps that are leaking really bad. It's a 2AZ motor. And the other, that's why I told you we have twins. This is again another drop off for tomorrow. This is we haven't even looked at it, but apparently their current mechanic told them it's time to junk this car and move on. They really love the car and they don't want to junk it and move on. So I think it has some timing codes. We're going to look at it. That's an appointment for tomorrow. It's actually the second car I'm looking at tomorrow. This is an LS430, 51,000 miles. This one had some mysterious issues, not running. Now it's running, but customer's not in a hurry for this one. We got to do a timing belt on it. It's actually the original timing belt, which was, yeah, interesting at this age. Beautiful car. Just, it kills me that it's a little dusty. Such a clean car. It's beautiful. When we're done with it, we want to wipe it down. It's just a beautiful car. Now, going around the GX here, we have this 2012 Camry, a very good friend of mine and a customer here as well. They just bought this car, and for lack of a better word, it's a disaster. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you here. Burns oil extensively. I mean, bad. It has a really bad service history. The transmission has a torque converter shutter. Rear struts are gone. There's a lot of odds and ends and needs tires, and it's just, I just told him, I don't know. If you had this car for a long time, well, we would have a different conversation of why didn't you take care of it, but I think this is too much. So he's gonna we did an oil change, a couple of brake lights are out, but he's gonna pick it up, keep an eye on the oil level and think about it, because this is a lot of money to basically build a motor for it. to replace the torque converter and go through the struts and a lot of little odds and ends. This is a lot. So that's another one. This Sienna, don't quote me on the year. This was actually also a drop off for tomorrow. This we did an axle on, and the customer is saying there's a noise from the front. He believes it's the passenger side, just from driving a little bit around the parking lot. I think the strut mount broke. We're gonna look into it a little bit more. Of course, the axle is under warranties. It was an original axle we put on this. So we'll see what's going on. If there's anything with the axle, we'll warranty it. If it is if it's the strut, see what we can do to help them. They're really good customers of ours. So these are notorious to break the strut mount, and it'll make like noise when you turn the wheel. Every time you turn it, it'll just start clunking. I think that's what it has, but we haven't dug into it yet. This one, you have seen this one on a video. It is still here. So I told you what happened to it in the video. This is the one, in case you haven't seen that video. This is the one that a transmission line rotted through and it leaked. And this transmission was severely low, it was setting codes and all kinds of issues. It only has it just crossed 100,000 miles an hour driving. So it has a lot of little issues. Struts are gone. The radiator shock's actually broken completely. Has a few odds and ends. So the customer actually, after much driving, decided, well, once we told him the transmission was good, decided to do the struts. I'm glad he's doing, sorry, the shocks in the rear. I'm glad he's doing this because this thing is scary to drive. There's no other way to say it. It's scary to drive, but we're just waiting for some parts. And if I'm not mistaken, Jose, we just got the last strut today. We're going aftermarket with this to keep the bill down, but I think we got the last strut today, sometime toward the end of the day. So we're hoping that in a few days we'll get started again on this and get it all wrapped up and back to the customer. This RAV4, I believe it's a 13 or 14. Why don't I give you a second to guess on the comments what it is in here for, where the hood is out of it. Torque converter, again. I feel like we do a lot of these torque converters lately. Dealerships charge a lot of money, and I understand, you know, this is a big job. You gotta basically tear half the car apart. This was actually done. We're gonna start it first thing in the morning. Just drive it, still got to update the software and just check for everything and whatnot. We do have an ABS codes that popped up for the rear sensors. Tomorrow, once I get some of my drop-offs done, I want to spend some time, because they're actually early on this. They dropped it off for over a week. They're going on a trip or something. And it just the way the schedule worked, we got on it and we got it done. So this one is going early, so I have a little bit of time on this, but I want to get some of my scheduled stuff done first, then we jump on this to see what's going on with the ABS. Hoping it's just some wiring, because it's two rear ones. It's kind of odd that both of them. That car is a 2009 or 2008 Highlander. This is a common thing with the knuckles in the back, the bushing to wear down, and this one is actually done. I am just wanting to drive it a few more times for something that we couldn't duplicate. Customer states sometimes heat only blows on the driver's side, not the passenger. I haven't been able to duplicate it. We drove it a few times, but they're not in a rush for it. So he's like, take your time. I'm going to drive it for a few more days just to see if we can get it to happen. If not, I suppose we're about to enter winter. I suppose we're about to enter summer. So we're not going to worry about that till next winter. GX460 over here is a dear customer of ours. This is an extended warranty job for a front timing cover. Extended warranty really sometimes are difficult to work with. They usually want to send an inspector and do all this kind of stuff. So the inspector just inspected this today. We're on the waiting. Are they gonna approve it or not? Customer was like, even if they don't approve it, I still want to fix it. I love my car. We're actually putting a trailer hitch on that as well. But this is a car they only drive in the summer. And actually this car was here last fall. We looked at it, we saw the leak, we told him about it. He wanted to fix it, but he stores it in the winter. So it's back here to do the job, so it's going to be here for a while until we get it done, approved and done. This is actually a car you guys recognize, or I hope you do. This is one of my dear friends and customer. This is the one that I guess is one of my viral videos. I don't like to use this language. This is the one we did the engine on. And I told you this is what happens when you have a dedicated owner that really takes care of their car but follows the manufacturer 10,000 mile oil change and is burning oil. Well, It's been in the shop for a while. So this particular owner, he's very busy. He drives a lot and he has multiple cars. So he would drop off one car, we work on it. He's just like, take your time, I have multiple cars, especially in the summertime. And then when we're done with one, he drops the other one and starts driving the one we just finished. Not much on this. Rear brakes, CV axle on the driver's side, transmission fluid service was due, oil change. That's about it. Just, I love major work, but we also love the little stuff. You know, you come in for maintenance fluid, even just a simple oil change. There's nothing better to me than when a car comes in the shop, just an oil change. We bring it in the shop, check it out, everything checks out fine, no issues, no brakes needed, nothing is needed. I love those moments. You came in for a service, you got it done, car needs nothing else. We shake hands and life is great. And you notice that there is a lot changing in the shop, folks. And this is gonna sound strange because this video is either going to come out before the big announcement or after the big announcement. So this is where it's going to make this strange in case you see the shop like this today and then you see lots of changes. Depends when this video comes out, but the Supra is not gone. It is elsewhere, let's put it this way. And if you saw it already, then you know where it is. We're going to start working on the engine soon. We already scheduled it on the schedule here, and the MR2 is coming out of storage. We're going to get that done as well. There's a lot of cars that are elsewhere, let's put it this way, that we are working on. But folks, this is a shop for the day. We got a lot more cars. This is not everything. That's the price of growing, I suppose. We have a lot of cars. Our team is growing. There's a lot going on, folks. I don't know when this video will come out. I'll just be flat out honest. I don't know when this video will come out, before the big announcement or after. If it's after, then you already know. If it's before, I guess you got a lot of sneak peeks then know what's going on. Folks, I hope this video was helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some other videos. Until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.